Hi, and welcome to today's webinar, specifically for Luxottica subleased ODs. On today's demo, we're going to be walking you through the integration with the appointment book, multiple examinations, and how to check the patient out of your office very quickly with a comprehensive and professional invoice. The first topic we'll begin on is the integration to the appointment book. Here I've pulled up the appointment book, and I've booked a few of my patients: Adriana Lima, Thomas Edison. We have Giselle and Oliver Wright. We should all be familiar with this task. Patients can do it from home. Pearl Vision staff can do this for the OD. All of the appointments that we see here are directly synchronized and integrated to the MyVision Express scheduler. We've developed a bi-directional interface, so anything you do here reflects inside MyVision Express, and any adjustments that you make inside MyVision Express will reflect on the appointment book. So there's no double data entry, alleviating a lot of clerical work. So let's go ahead and see how these appointments reflect inside MyVision Express, and we can quickly move into an examination from there. So let's go ahead and open up our scheduler. This is our very first icon in the program, easy to find. And if we look down below, we can see all of the information that has synchronized from the appointment book, thus reducing a lot of clerical work and double data entry for our front staff. Now if you were to double click on any one of these, here you can see all the information comes right over from the appointment book, all the demographics, phone numbers, and basic information, including the service. So at this point in time, you can check your patients in, which updates the date and time for the doctor. And now the doctor can see this from the electronic medical record tool when they've checked into the practice. One more tool placed very conveniently is the letters module. Here I'll double click onto the welcome package, which has a very professional printout. Your customers can come in, fill it out, and you can use it to document back into our software or scan it back in. This is completely customizable, the return policies and all the information here. So that's built into the software and completely customizable with your logo and all your company information. Here you can always email it and print it out. There's another integration I'd like to talk about, and that's Patients Portal. Through MyVision Express, your patients can register online and submit their demographics, insurance information, and even medical information to you before they come to your practice, virtually eliminating the welcome form. So let me show you some of those screens. And here we've logged into, and here is Patient Portal. This shows us all the registered patients to our practice. We could refine our patients right over here to the right hand side. And this here is the Patients Portal for the administrator in your office. There's two sides to Patient Portal, one for your staff and one for your patients. This is what your staff will see, all your registered patients to your practice, and can import their information back in as necessary. Now let me show you what it would look like for the patient. This is the actual screen that they're going to see when they log onto the Patient Portal from home. It welcomes them. They can send messages back to you. They can schedule appointments. They can fill out all their information, demographics, medical, and insurance information based off the customized forms you've created. They can view all of their orders, print invoices, and even pay for their balances. And in the examination area, you can view your exam history and allows you to print it out as well. So it does a number of tasks here for you, and these are all the very same buttons. So this is a very intuitive feature for your staff to learn and use on a daily basis, as well as for your customers. Your patients should have the convenience of doing this from home and should be able to navigate through this pretty easily. So let's go ahead and go back to the scheduler. And as you double click onto the patient, their information comes right back into the software and completely reduces the need for your front staff to duplicate the welcome form into the software. So it's a fantastic tool and can definitely streamline a lot of clerical work in the office. So both Adriana Lima and Thomas Edison are ready for appointments. We can go ahead and get their EMR started. So let's go ahead and segue out of the calendar and open up our electronic medical record tool. At this point in time, this will be a separate computer from the front staff. The doctor can be equipped with a laptop, a PC desktop, even a touch screen. So let's kind of envision a whole other computer at this point in time, and let's quickly find all of our appointments for today. Here we can see when Adriana Lima's coming in, Thomas Edison, Giselle, Oliver Wright, their current statuses. Here you can see if they've checked in, rescheduled, possibly a no-show, the type of services you'll be performing, and if you scroll on back, you have some miscellaneous details, such as their check-in time, how late they were, how long they've been waiting, and any specific notes your front staff would like to relay to you. It's pretty intuitive to get these started. I'm going to start the 10 o'clock appointment, the contact lens exam, her being checked in, and choose the appropriate template. Here I'll choose a Pearl Vision new contact lens exam. Okay, so our exam has started. We've landed ourselves on the Summary tab. It's a nice tab to refresh your memory with this patient, past tests you've performed, ocular surgery history, intraocular pressure readings, visual acuity history, medications, and past problems you've diagnosed, such as astigmatism. Now, this is a brand new patient, so there's not a lot of information here. But on some of the other examples we'll go through today, you'll see how this serves as a nice exam dashboard for the OD. Here you can still see the patient's picture, the patient's information, some of their occupations and hobbies, including their vision and medical insurance. So once you've taken a brief moment, help you refresh your memory with this patient, your exam really can get started in the Chief Complaint tab. The Chief Complaint is pretty straightforward to get through. You don't need to do a whole lot of typing here. Simply as your patient rifles out to you what their factors are, what their symptoms are, you can pick and click those through these columns. For instance, patient complains of blurry up close in both eyes, continuously happening for the last 2 weeks with my contacts on. The doctor can move on to the next tab at this point in time and does not need to type anything out. All of these columns are completely customizable, even allowing you to put your common options towards the top of the box, so you can organize these options. And if you don't want to use the categories, you can always freeform text into the box below. To add in a second Chief Complaint, you can click the New button. A new box will appear, allowing you to document a second Chief Complaint. And you could always use the History box to copy forward a previous complaint from the last exam. The Past Family Social History tab is a tab that can actually be filled out by the patients from home. Known problems, medications, allergies, and family history can all be submitted and directly imported into your software with this patient portal feature. Patients from home can submit to you a lot of their demographics, insurance information, including medical information, reducing the need to fill it out when they walk into your office. So there's very little typing on this screen. You would simply want to select PFSH reviewed and you can move on. Social history can be easily filled in with drop-down boxes, or it could even be copied in from history if previous exam data exists. So let's go ahead and move into our Health tab, where a lot of our meaningful use objectives are consolidated under one tab for us. Here we have things like vital signs, blood pressure, pulse, height. Here's the problem list. Any diagnosis the patient has reported to you can quickly be documented just by selecting one of your ICD-9 codes from your favorite list, or if you come right up top, you can quickly search diabetes just by starting to type it. And here you have a consolidated list of just your diabetes codes. So let's go ahead and choose one of these. And there we've just documented diabetes for our patient. This tab also integrates with the patient portal, so if your patients want to submit this info from home, there's no need for you to retype it. Let's move on to the allergies, where you can document their allergies and reactions, such as pollen or latex. Medications, where the doctor can use his RX pad and choose a medication out pretty quick. We'll quickly search for Pataday and the 2 milligram strength, and there you'll see the whole RX is completed. So you can set up a lot of your common RXs, common medications you'll be prescribing, and quickly select them out. The doctor also has the ability to e-prescribe from here. Electronic prescribing is part of meaningful use, and it's a fantastic tool here. Family history is where you can document any family problem, something that's running in the family history, such as glaucoma, diabetes, etc. Disclosures, immunizations, laboratory and diagnostic tests are all part of being EHR certified, although not too relevant. You can skip over them if needed. The HL7 Continuance Care Document tab allows you to upload your patient's information to Microsoft Health Vault. You can generate the CCD right from here. It's another aspect of proving meaningful use and complying with meaningful use. And that concludes the Health tab. From this point, we can move into the review of systems. This tab is pretty straightforward. You can see my template has already defaulted negative to all 13 systems, saving me a couple clicks here. Now if there is any abnormality, we can quickly drop it in through this drop-down box, allowing us to pick out some options, any abnormality. Now you have some hotkeys over here. You can quickly say all negative, all other negative, and you can clear all your options. Another way to quickly work through this screen is to copy in from history. So if she had previous exam data, we can select this option and forward in any data from the past exam. Computer usage can be documented right below, the hours, usage, and ergonomics. And over to the right-hand corner, we have surgical procedures, which can quickly be added in, such as an aqueous shunt. You can pick the eye, the timeline, and the physician. So here we'll say one of our external doctors, Herman Snellen. And from this point, we can move into the entrance. Here on this tab, we can see a lot of these fields have already been defaulted for us. All the typical results we might experience on a day-to-day basis, such as Perla for pupils, cover test ortho results, EOM full range of motion, a normal or a pass on the color vision. So this is all part of templating, which templating out all your typical results will really help you streamline this exam. Now for aided acuities and unaided acuities, you can use the drop-down boxes, which are pretty easy. Dominant eye and hand can be filled out. And if there's any abnormality here, such as pupils maybe are irregular, you can go ahead and change them. Down below, we have the interocular pressure readings that we can document. So let's go ahead and pick pressure for the OD. Make this a non-contact examination, and any particular notes you'd like to key in. There is an interocular graph report, and when you click on it, it's going to display to you all the pressures and readings you've taken on the dates. So you get a visualization of how this patient's pressure has been increasing, decreasing, or has possibly stabilized. And you can see all the medications you've prescribed on those exact dates. So let's close out of that. You have your psychiatric information over here. You can always copy in from history. And let's move on into the refractive tab. Once inside this tab, we can first integrate with our autorefractor. So if you've integrated your device, you can double click onto it and it'll simply dump all of your autorefractor readings right inside your EMR. So for this example, I'll work up a few of them just with my mouse. So let's start by documenting the autorefractor, and I'll work up a very basic RX here. Equal that stuff down. If you'd care to choose the keratometry readings at this point, you certainly could. And over here, we'll do the same. And equal that right down. Now let's go ahead and copy that, working off the base of our autorefractor. We could make a objective or subjective, which I will quickly make, and I'll change the sphere power. Just to give you a quick example, you can see how the autorefractor is at a -0.5 and the subjective lands at a -1. So let's copy the subjective just one more time, and we could jump straight to our final. So for the final RX, we'll go ahead and document a -175 with an access power of 100. And for the OS, a 0.75, -125, and an 80 access point. So now you'll notice on the final RX there's an Add Vision Diagnosis button, which is a fantastic tool. It's going to help the doctor calculate the vision codes, the vision diagnosis codes that could possibly be wrong with this patient based off the final parameters of this RX. So the software is suggesting to us a 367.1, a 367.0, and there it asks us if we would like to add a refractive charge. So the software reminds us, that way we don't forget, and I'll take the exception on that as well. One of the last things you're going to want to do before you leave is transfer this RX back to the patient's record. This makes it available for your front staff. The doctor doesn't need to print it out or handwrite it. And the software will ask you a very important question. And it says you have a previous vision RX of the same type. Would you like to discontinue the previous RX? This allows you to have one RX active at any one given time. So if you select yes, it'll discontinue the previous one and keep this one active. And just like that, you could see the available indicator checks off, informing the doctor that this is available for his front staff. So we've done a lot of different tasks from here, and now we can move on to the binocular. Here in the binocular tab, you're going to move through a series of tests, horizontal and vertical results for the phoreas, your binocular cross-cylinder tests, NRA and PRA blur and recovery points. Here you're documenting all your vergence, base in, base out, base down, and base up, break and recovery points, both distance and near, near point convergence, near point acuities, pursuits and saccades tests. So it's pretty straightforward, nothing too hard here, just a series of tests laid out to go through the motions for finding any muscular issue with your patient. So this brings us into the next tab, external and internal. These two tabs are very similar to each other, and you'll notice my template has already set up this tab to be all normal. So I don't really have to do much here unless there is an abnormality that I would like to document, and then we can quickly do it with our drop-down boxes. So we have some similar hotkeys that we've seen before, the all other normal, all normal. You can clear all your options. You could equal the right eye to the left eye, copy in a set of data from a past exam. This is the history button. And you have the ability to draw. So if you like to document the drawing right onto the internal or external eye, you have this tool right here. Internal is very similar. Here you have the lens, the vitreous, optic disc, vessels, and you can simply just choose your options from the drop-down box. Keep in mind, you always have the ability to type. with the same hotkeys right on the side. Once again, my template has defaulted everything to say all normal. My AV ratio, 2/3, cup disc ratio, I have predefined. My disc size could be regular and symmetrical from the start. My typical exam methods I would use, my typical dilation solution, and clicking on this calendar book gets my timer started. So here you can clearly see your counter, but as you move off of this tab onto other tabs, you can always see your dilation time right here. This brings us into our contact lens area. It's a very efficient tab to prescribe contact lenses, trials and finals. I'll start by adding one in, and with this tool over here I'll copy in my base RX from my refractive tab. So the one I've performed just a little bit ago is right here, and I can copy that straight into my contact lens tab. Now by clicking on this ellipsis button, the software does something very neat for you. It takes the patient's RX and filters out your contact lens inventory, only showing you the contact lenses you can actually prescribe. So for this example, I'll show you the Acuvue Oasis for astigmatism and select the correct base curve or contact lens configuration, and I'll do the same for the OS, being this prescription is a little different. And moving right to this drop-down box is where you'll define the trials and finals. If it's a second or third pair of trials, this option allows you to document that. So let's go ahead and make some trials for it. And down below we can have the centration movement, flow pattern, surface, documented pretty quick through drop-down boxes. So here we could document good vision, good coverage. We could even double-click into these boxes and have our default option appear. It's another ability in the templating or in configuration of this template. You could set all the default values. Here I'll set a wearing plan and document the contact lens care solution. And the same way we pass the RX back to the patient's record for the spectacle lens, we could do the same here for the soft contact RX. And if you click it here, it'll ask you if you'd like to discontinue the previous RX of the same type. And just to keep one RX active at a time, we can select yes. Over here in the contact lens order history tab, it's going to show you everything the patient has purchased from your practice. And here you can see how the trend goes from Bausch & Lomb to Cooper Vision, back to Bausch & Lomb. So there's quite a bit of details here for you to make an accurate contact lens prescription, and this is all you're going to need to move forward into your test tab. By clicking on the Add button, we can proceed to add in a test through our test card. For today's example, I'll show you an Optomap. Here's the reason for the test. I'll say annual, and start the test. So if reliability needs to be documented, you certainly could. Stability, patient's cooperation, and diagnosis code. I'll click on this ellipsis button where I can see my list of favorite diagnosis codes. But here I'm actually going to key to a 362.01. The software will once again suggest it to add it into my assessment tab, and I'll take that suggestion. Also reminding me to add in my Optomap charge, making sure we don't forget any of that. So findings could be added in, so could your plan, and just like that you would have had a full test documented. And the last tab we have here is our assessment. This is the tab you're trying to get to as quick as possible to wrap up your whole exam. And just to give you the big picture here, you're really just working your way from left to right, starting off in the summary, moving through this exam, getting to your assessment as quick and accurate as possible. So once you're here, you can see the spectacle lens RX, the final, and your final contact lens RX. And you can also see the available indicators on both. Here's all the diagnosis codes that have been suggested to us throughout this exam, such as myopia and astigmatism. And here we can create a plan. There's no need to type these out. We have a lot of different categories that come with our software. For this particular example, I'll select a diabetes category and found retinopathy to be stable. So there, with a few clicks, our plan quickly flies in. And that's specific to this retinopathy code, the 362. I could have a different plan for myopia, and I could have a different plan for my astigmatism code. So let's review the procedure codes. And here we can see the refractive, the optomap charge, and our toric contact lens fitting. It's already in place for us where we can see all the exam charges and including the total amount the patient is looking at. So if you like to time this exam, you can click this button here. And just like that, it'll time your exam. This has taken us a total of 20 minutes. Here we could split it up over doctor and counseling time. Just down below, you can keep this exam open or lock it. Once the exam is locked, you can't make any edits to this exam unless you use your addendum tool. Now the complexity can be quickly calculated with this assistant tool, and basically just by filling out this set of information, it calculates how complex your exam was. And if you'd like to take the exception, you can select it, and there it selects moderate complexity. So if we look at our coder at this point, here we can see what it's suggesting to us based off all the documented elements. 5 out of 4, 7 out of 2, 13 out of 10. And here in our overall exam, we're held at the 9 level out of 13. So if we went back and just documented a few other things, we could probably achieve a higher code. Now you can accept it or decline it. For this example, I'll select the select button. And there you'll see the code enters into our order form. And now we can push this patient out front with all the services along with him. So right before we do that, let's go ahead and make a referral letter possible. I'll choose Dr. Herman Snellen and the reason. We'll select diabetic retinopathy. Now let me show you just how quick you can queue up an entire referral letter and email it off to your doctor. This will essentially change the way you communicate with other doctors. Just by double-clicking on the referral letter of choice, it's already completed for me. It's a very nice printout, professionally formatted, your logo, your company information. It addresses the doctor there to start off with. Your patient's information is in place already, and the assessment. So it takes all the information from your exam and places it on this referral letter for you so that you don't have to type it out yourselves. Now with just one more click, you can email it right off to the doctor, and you can continue on with your workflow inside your office. So let's go ahead and close out of here. Now there's education we could provide. On the education tab, you'll have a lot of different categories that you can set up with different materials, PDFs, movie files. On this example, I've set up a dry eye category with a PDF document that I can display for my patients, have them read it on the spot, or print it out and have them take it home. So let me display what that would look like. And here we're looking at our dry eye document. The patient can take a moment, read the document, or again, you can print it out, have the patient take it home. So this is one example we have, but you can certainly store any type of education. Now let's go ahead and close this module. Now if you'd care to assign any task to one of your employees, you have a to-do button, which you can reach out to them and assign them a task right on the spot. But that pretty much finalizes this entire exam. This patient can now transition out to the front so that we can do his billing. Now that we've essentially wrapped up our entire exam, let me go ahead and explain the last 3 tabs to you here. The Custom Fields tab allows you to customize up to 50 additional fields to capture any other set of data that we haven't provided already. The Files area, where your imaging equipment will be linked to. So for instance, a visual field can be scanned in or integrated, and you could view it at any time in our software. So just like that, our printout appears and we can review the results. And lastly, our Interactions tab, where every employee leaves an audit trail, date stamp and time stamps, and you can leave any specific notes, such as a status. Patient is okay. And there you'll start to build a social history for every visit, including messages that are linked to this patient's account, and any paper correspondence you've printed out or sent to them, such as statements, exam glance letters, CCD emailed, happy birthday letters, and that leaves a paper trail in essence. Going back to the Assessment tab, I'll quickly explain the Meaningful Use wizard. It's a comprehensive checklist to see all the different areas you've passed and failed in within the meaningful use aspects. So there's really clear indicators over here to the right hand side, and it's great to see that you've passed quite a few different things, but you mostly want to focus on what you failed. So let's filter out just the areas that we failed in, and at this point in time we can go back into the exam and fix this, or choose to exclude it. This gives confidence to the doctor that you're proving meaningful use, understanding at the end of every single exam if you've met all your requirements. You don't need to rely on anybody else or any other report. So let's go ahead and close that. And that completely wraps up this exam. The doctor could essentially come back over here to this search button and start the next appointment without ever leaving the EMR tool. All of the information that your front staff needs as far as billing for the services, working up a contact lens order or a spectacle lens order is all provided for your front staff. So let me show you guys a few more templates. We'll run through a few more examples showing you just how streamlined these templates can actually be. So let's click this search button. Select on our templates filter button. And here I'll show you a contact lens follow-up, our Pearl Vision CL follow-up template. And let's go ahead and pick Giselle. So there we can see our next patient, and our next exam starts. It's a pretty seamless workflow. And just like that, you can see how much more streamlined this contact lens follow-up is. It's just got the tabs that we need, still landing us on the summary tab, allowing us to quickly refresh our memory with some of the readings here, VA, past problems like myopia. But we can quickly move to the refractive tab, adding in the final RX, which I've shown you how to do on the previous exam. Moving into the contact lens tab, where you can first start off by viewing the history, past finals and trials that you've worked up for your patient already. So if you wanted to copy a pair of trials over into today's exam, it does so, and it defaults it to a final contact lens and completely fills it out for you. Now right before you finalize this RX, you can come down here to the centration and default all of your options. So all you would have to do is perform a double click on these boxes and your common options or defaulted options will appear. You can do the same here for the vision, the coverage, the centration, and the movement, quickly moving right through all of this. So let's go ahead and show you guys the contact lens order history. Checking the contact lens order history. But at this point in time, your contact lens follow-up is done. You could save this exam and start your next appointment. So let me go ahead and show you one more. I'll choose another template here for a office visit. And let's work in Thomas Edison. He might be coming in for a red eye check. And just like that, we started another template with another patient. And here you can see this one has got just a few more tabs on it. So we're back at the exam dashboard. The complaint tab where we can document the reason for visit. The chief complaint. He says, "Doc, I feel like I'm having redness in my left eye. It's frequently happening with my contacts on." The PFSH, we can quickly review this, select that it's all been reviewed and accurate. And to copy in from history, we could review last month's exam and select that information forward. The health tab, we can proceed to document different problems, allergies, medications, and family history. Once again, these are aspects of meaningful use. Continuance care document, meaningful use. The external and internal tabs are very similar to each other, and you'll notice that my template has already defaulted to say normal. Although I do want to document an abnormality under the conjunctiva, I want to document swelling. This being an office visit for a red eye, I'll go ahead and just change this one abnormality and move forward. The assessment tab. Here you can add in your ICD-9 codes with your favorite list. So if you wanted to document, red eye, such as a 372.30. And there we'll document conjunctivitis. We'll add in a plan for this red eye. And here we'll go ahead and select the conjunctivitis plan and say avoid rubbing eyes, being RX treatment, see below. So a number of plans you can quickly add in there. And procedure codes. You could take the suggestion from the autocoder, which right now it's suggesting a 99212. Or we can always manually add in our procedure codes and exam fees right through this list here. So if you wanted to add in a 99211, 212, we'll select that right in. Now if you want to time this exam, you'll go ahead and see just how fast we've completed this exam. So once you get familiar with your templates and a lot of it's defaulted, you could really start to dock in 15-minute, 20-minute exams and try to maximize every single patient visit, providing as much attention and personalized care as possible. One more thing I'd like to display is how you can add and remove to these templates. You have ultimate control over every tab and every template. So if the patient were to spring something else out on you, such as, "Hey doc, can you check my contacts?" If your template wasn't designed for it, you can quickly add it right into this template and proceed with the patient's contacts. This avoids the need of starting another exam, having 2 exams open, and we feel MyVision Express makes it very easy for the doctor to control these templates with just right-clicking, adding and removing tabs right on the fly, making this feature such a great tool. So now that we've wrapped up this entire exam, let's go ahead and show you how these patients get checked out. We've done 3 different templates, 3 different examinations on 3 different patients. So I'll take one of these patients and show you just how fast we can check him out for all his services. So let's save and close and open up our quick order tool. This is the final screen to check your patient out of your business. It's a one-page order system allowing you to quickly move through it, auto-filling a lot of these details. Now what I'm going to show you guys today is a service order. So I'll select the type of order and everything irrelevant just disappears. So let me show you how fast we can actually move through this order. Now let's go ahead and select Adriana Lima. We can integrate her service charges very quickly. You'll see they're all highlighted from today, and with one more click, they're inside the invoice. Now we can quickly drop in the patient's insurance, such as an IMED and access plan. And with just a brief moment, you can see exactly how much the insurance is going to pick up and how much the patient is responsible for. So just right below this invoice, we can take the payment, define the pay method, and hitting the print button will take the payment, save the order, and allow you to print out a very comprehensive invoice. You have a patient's receipt, an insurance and patient receipt, which details the insurance. You can choose to bundle it, which consolidates all the items, and you can combine multiple orders on the very same invoice. So let's go ahead and preview this invoice for today. And now we're looking at a professional invoice for your patient. It's got your company information at the top. Right hand side is designated for your logo. Home, cell, work phone number, employee and physician, patient's information, diagnosis codes found relevant in the EMR. And here is your legible invoice, your procedure codes with description, how the patient paid, and balances are found right over here. So you shouldn't have to spend a whole lot of time deciphering this invoice to your patients. You should be able to hand it to them and they'll walk out your business. The entire footer below is customizable, so if you'd like to put in some sort of return policy or possibly an all sales or final policy, this could be customized to fit your needs. And you can print it out for your patient, hand it to them. If they opt for an electronic copy, you can email it to them, fax it, save it to your computer, and ultimately close. So with just one more click, we can start a whole brand new order, recycling this workflow. So let's go ahead and save and close out of here. And that really concludes your patient's workflow in your office. We've checked them in through our scheduler, we've performed an exam, and we've checked them out through Quick Order with a professional invoice. And that right there is going to conclude our presentation for today. Thank you.